Hello. Hi, Minneapolis. Okay, so my talk is Rooting for the Underdog, Sports Fans, and Paper Bags. It is about the history and philosophy behind sports fans wearing paper bags on their heads when their team really, truly sucks. Now, you will be surprised to hear that paper bags were not the first masks. The first known mask is from 7000 BC, and masks have a long history, mostly associated with religion and magic. But let's fast forward about 9,000 years to 1980, and the New Orleans Aints, the Saints. Now, they went 0-14 in 1980 before Bud Deliberto, who was a noted radio show host, decided to take inspiration from the unknown comic of Gong Show fame and encourage his listeners to put paper bags on their heads when they went to Saints games. It didn't help their season, but it did really start a revolution of people from across the spectrum of professional sports wearing paper bags on their heads. And here you will see in such exotic foreign locations as Canada, people wearing paper bags on their heads, because the language of embarrassment is universal. But the question is, why would you do it? If your team really, truly sucks, why would you go to one of their games? And if you're going to go to the game, everyone knows you're there, so why would you wear a paper bag on your head? Well, there are several reasons why you would do it. First of all, that's us down there. In the immortal words of Dharma and Greg, the episode where she becomes a super fan, they do not subscribe to the us-them dichotomy. And, well, these guys are getting paid a lot of money to be there, and you're just suffering. You still feel like it's you down there. And like the classic clown, you are laughing on the outside because you're crying on the inside. And by the way, never try and do a Google image search for crying clown. It's super duper scary. But at any rate, so we laugh because we care. And finally, those two things that motivate so much human activity, love and money. We love the game, and God damn it, we paid for it. So we're gonna go no matter how bad our team is. We really are. Now, unlike sports themselves, there aren't a lot of rules to wearing paper bags on your heads. I mean, it is kind of a DIY thing. But at the same time, there are some guidelines that can enrich your paper bag wearing experience. The first is really about commitment. So if you're gonna do it, you can't be one of those people who's never gone to a game before and then you show up and you put a paper bag on your head. That just seems kind of like lousy gloating. It's the people who come year after year, like the 2010 and 2011 Mets fans, who deserve to wear paper bags on their heads. Also, you have to think about how bad is bad enough to wear a paper bag on your head. Merely losing won't cut it. Then you seem kind of like a whiny fair weather fan. Instead, you have to be really, really bad. And finally, you want to go big. Just like Alice's Restaurant, one person wearing a paper bag, they seem crazy. 50 people, it seems like a movement. We really want to create a movement around this. So the question is it time for Minnesota to start wearing paper bags on their heads? And the answer is a resounding yes, well, not quite, maybe. And the reason why is we're so early into the baseball season, and, you know, we haven't picked up these other sports that I really don't care about season yet. But the fact remains that Minnesota sucks at everything except for women's basketball. We're really good at women's basketball, but everything else we're truly horrible at, but we may not be quite horrible enough to say, yes, we're gonna do it. So instead, what I'm charging you to do is think like good Cylons. To lurk in the deep, dark corners on the edges of the universe and really concoct a plan of how we're going to deploy this paper bag thing. And I'm going to stretch this until it breaks, this analogy, but there are three things. We want to evolve the concept and make it uniquely Minnesotan. We don't want to be just a cheap imitation of Mets or Clippers fans out on the coast. We want to do something really ours. We want to have many copies, so we want to have a lot of people doing it, and we want to have a really good plan. Because ultimately, if we're going to be the absolute worst, we want to be the absolute best at doing it. We want to be the best at sucking of anyone out there. Because deep in all of our hearts, we think that if we do this well enough and we show up and we're at that game with that paper bag on our head, we're going to win that game, because just like those early masks, paper bags are really, truly magic. Thank you.